a lot of the nonsense that we're reading and hearing about, and allowing for reprogramming of ourselves, because let's face it, we've all been programmed to a greater or lesser extent. And the time has come now, due to the environmental space, humanity's state in evolution, that we can actually now break down those old walls and move into new spaces we never even knew about, we never thought possible. And this is intensified by chaos. So I'm just saying, bring it on. Bring on the chaos. Bring on as much as necessary so that we can really, really all shift. And that's Fidget Capra. He's a very good researcher, scientist, and he's looked a lot at, you know, the necessity for chaos. And Professor Desiree Dubonnet as well has looked at the quantum field, whereby we get chaos, we get patterns originating out of the chaos, get fed up, and again come down again with more chaos, more patterning, organization, more chaos, more organization. And that is how we live in a perpetual harmonic renewed state. So if we understand all of that, we understand situations that humanity finds themselves into, nature, of foods, etc., which we've talked about a lot on our global cleansing groups and the Covered for COVID groups, etc. So, you know, here again, we are uncovering certain things, and in many instances, I wait for somebody to text and to write something that I already know about, and then comment on what they've already read, what they've written. So there are many of you here who aren't part of all the groups, and I'll give the group WhatsApp group links just now in our meeting. But I wanted to just start off with, now this is where this wasn't planned at all. I was busy. I had a radio interview at 12 o'clock. First, I had administration, and then I was finishing all of that. I had this radio interview on the effect of stress on the biology of the human. And I needed to be very sharp. This was a very sharp interviewer. It was a global radio station. And just in between all of that, I happened to search News 24 on the South African channel. And what did I find there? I found, we all know there's this heightened awareness now, second wave, third wave, etc. And it was about South Africa's choices. And we've closed our borders. You're not allowed to come in here, and we're not allowed to leave again, because we supposedly wanting to check on the spread of the virus. So I picked up this thing that talked about this. It was a professor and of epidemiology at one of our universities here, and he was talking about some unanswered questions. And then I read down and I found out that eventually he says this, and I'm quoting it because not everybody got the WhatsApp group from me. So he says, "The virus doesn't get tired. It's an utterly remorseless set of chemicals. And we don't get a break. So I do worry more is coming, and just how much is coming and is under our control to some extent." So I had a look at this, and now we talked before in some of our Covered for COVID live chats about, actually the nature of a virus and what is it really. And we've dug down deep, and we've talked about DNA and RNA fragments. And we've talked about the fact that there are many million gazillion more beneficial DNA and RNA fragments that have been around since time began, if you like, and they have shifted and evolved humanity. And how they've done that is because they are recognized by our cells to go through the cell membrane, go into the nucleus, and become assimilated with the normal DNA. And then our DNA steps up and starts replicating with a higher frequency DNA, a different shape of DNA, and again and again and again and again. And this is partly our evolutionary pathway. So we've had these very beneficial, as I say, fragments doing this all along. They're still doing it. So there was a fragment of humanity who got caught onto this and started genetically modifying certain things, all right, humanly organizing certain things. And so we read a lot about pseudopneumonias and unknown causes, and all different kinds of disease parameters that could be atypical, that are not normal, but they're just called atypical. So when we delve down deep and we actually start analyzing what this says about a virus doesn't get tired. Now, that to me, I'm a pharmacist, right? And I've studied microbiology, biology, biochemistry, and all those things. If we take polio, for example, polio entered into the world. It did the typical bell-shaped curve and petered out, disappeared. And you can take the diphtherias, you can take the measles, you can take all of them, and they follow the typical bell-shaped curve. That means they get tired. They rise up to a peak and then they get tired, right? So what he's telling us is this virus doesn't get tired. That doesn't happen. And he's telling us that it's an utterly remorseless set of chemicals. Fact, de facto, listing it here, that it's the chemicals that are in the way. All right, so what I wrote here was that tireless means it does not follow the bell-shaped curve and increase to a point and then decrease like we are told things happen. So this one carries on indefinitely, chemically, which is indicating a toxin. So how can this be if all other viruses follow this curve, okay? And so we're clearly dealing with a very toxic chemical then that's tireless, remorseless. And it's around and it's around and it goes away and the chemicals come back again and it goes away and the chemicals come back again, or different kinds of chemicals come at us, if you like, or appear wherever they might be appearing. So what happens when a toxin enters the body is that the body realizes this. And I'm going to go through the whole sort of stress cycle of whether it's a pathogen or a toxin, whatever that's entering the body. So when a chemical enters the body, this sets off a stress hormone immunity reaction, if you like. So if you remember last week, we talked about the homeostasis of the body. And anything that upsets the homeostasis is going to cause stress. And it is called the stressor, and you get a stress response. So if we follow this, this stress response creates the stressor to travel up via the blood through to the hypothalamus, which then sends a chemical message to the pituitary, which comes back down in the blood system again, the chemical message and receptors passing through the adrenal part of the kidneys, etc., and we will get a cortisol release, and that stress hormone then binds with receptors and interacts with cells. What we're also getting by the nervous system, the stress is detected by the nervous system right at the outset also, is that there's a call on the as the cells, the hormones and everything are interacting with at the cellular level, there's a call on there and a draw on the immunity because the DNA starts getting damaged. And in any event, the immune system is called upon. So stem cells are called upon, beta cells, T cells, NKF cells, etc., all the warriors, the white blood cells are called to the area too. And along with that, we get helpers. So we get helpers that actually arise out of our own body, our own blood, all right? And this is Beauchamp, a French researcher. So our normal everyday yeasts, candida, beneficial bacterias and fungi are going about their everyday life, helping us, building our immune system, helping digestion, etc. They get alerted, all right? And they form the aggressive state. They become the aggressive form of candida, for example, and go to that area to sort out the chemical toxin. Okay, it could be a food additive, it could be uranium, it could be insecticides, asbestos, it could be lots of beauty toxins, it could be radiation, any kind of toxicity, right? They're going to rush there to protect. So you get a co-hosting of a whole lot of organisms, right? Many of them classified as deadly and all the rest of it. But what they've really done is come to the area to help the body. You might even get some worms coming because their job is to eat up and munch up and clear the body quickly of this toxin. So I might just add at this stage, when oil is spilt on the ocean and when they're wanting to clear sewers up and so on, they will throw probiotics, live probiotics, liquid probiotics with digestive enzymes over the oil spill or down the sewer to actually clean it. So what happens is the beneficial bacteria, fungi, and yeast go into the active aggressive form and start munching up all the toxins. For example, in the sewer, in the oil slick, they actually clean up the oil slick. So they know what to do. When they've done their job, they go back into their normal, friendly, everyday space. So if we understand that this is what's happening in our body too, we're getting this reaction. It's a stress reaction. And all sorts of things are happening. We are getting stress hormones released. We are getting the immunity being called. And we're getting these organisms that are shifting into the aggressive state, okay? And this is what we want. But what's happening now is these organisms are getting measured as the COVID. Right, but in fact, they are there because there's a chemical, remorseless, tireless set of chemicals that are in our body. And they're coming in on an everyday basis. Most likely, we're breathing them in and through the skin. So I always say, spray up your nostrils and spray your skin. Or if you are going out, cover your body as much as possible, so that wherever these chemicals are, they can't actually penetrate your body that easily. So if we've got this understanding now, all right, and the French professors knew all about this, I said we're dealing with a very toxic chemical that finds its way into the body. This stimulates the body's beneficial bacteria, fungi, and yeasts to shift into the aggressive state and become a co-hosting of many forms in the body to remove the chemical toxin. This causes a flu-like Herxheimer reaction. So as the body is trying to get rid of this, the histamine levels goes up, the mucus levels go up, and the body is in a desperate state to get this toxin out of it as quickly as possible. And there's a couple of ways to get it out, right? By the gut, by the kidney, by the lungs, by the liver, and by the skin. 5 areas, main areas, organs of detoxification. Now, what happens when these are a bit blocked? Right? We've got a huge belly out there maybe, and it's blocked and it's stuck and it's stuffed and the patient's constipated. Not much detoxification is going to happen through the liver, okay? And I'm exaggerating to make my point. What happens when the kidney is so full of denatured, indisposable protein that the body doesn't know what to do with it, stuffed it all into the kidneys along with uric acid crystals and a whole lot of stuff. The urea rate is climbing in the body. We're not getting kidney filtration. We're not getting proper elimination from the kidneys. What happens when the lungs are full of toxins, full of mucus, and we've got toxins there, and we've already got the pneumonia, mycoplasma, TB kind of organisms already living in there, and they've got a mucous membrane all over. They've got a mucus covering all the complete mucous membrane of the lungs and the bronchioles, and the oxygen can't get through. What happens when the skin is dirty and full of old, dead skin? It's not exfoliated, and it's also blocked because we eat way too much oil, heated oil that's got no digestive enzymes. And we've got oil deposits on the skin. We've got impurities on the skin. We've got possibly environmental dirt and smog and everything on the skin, and the skin can't detox, right? And what happens when the liver is completely full of fat? It's already attracted its own set of liver flukes. We saw those in the one presentation, and it's this rancid oil all over it, and it can't actually metabolize properly or do its job at detoxification. So what happens when those 5 organs are blocked? not detoxifying the body properly. Even the gallbladder can be blocked, by the way. And we get this overload of toxins at us, be it a chemical related to this COVID presentation, physical presentation, be it, again, an overdose of radiation, uranium, for example, food additives, mercuries, heavy metals, insecticides, pesticides, all filling this huge big barrel, invisible barrel, but in our body, everything getting loaded in. And then we come up with this remorseless chemical toxin that's spoken about, and the body's got to get it out quickly. Those people that have looked after themselves, out quickly. Those people who haven't, difficult to get out. Those are the ones that have a bigger Herxheimer reaction. They are the ones that have developed like more pneumonias and more critical situations in the respiratory system. You see what I'm saying? So at all times, we need to be, this body is our temple. It needs to be completely squeaky clean on every level. All those detox organs need to be clear. And that's what we do. We us quantum therapists working with skios, eductors, QUEX devices, those of us working with food state nutrients and nourishing the body and cleansing the body in all areas. This is what we're aiming to do all the time, is open up those organs of elimination so that toxin comes in, it goes out, comes in, it goes out. And this is really the secret to health. It's the secret to longevity. A body that's clear of toxins has got a high voltage, a good charge, the battery's charged, it's got a high cell vitality level. That means that the charge around the cell membrane is of the right charge, allowing osmosis to occur, allowing oxygen and food to enter into the cell, allowing the oxygen to bind with the electrons and the nutrients of the food to produce an ATP Krebs cycle, which produces energy with using the mitochondria, which incidentally is a eukaryote bacteria itself anyway, right in the middle of our cells, and allowing all the cell functions to happen properly. Remember, from a cell, we get a tissue. From the tissue, we get an organ. From the organ, we get a system. So anything that's working on the cells in a beneficial way will benefit the entire body. See, so when we do get diseased or sick, whatever, it will be the weakest point. So if your weakest point is the lungs, where the oxygen's coming in because you have a previous infection there that you never got out because you had previous toxins, it's going to be exacerbated. So we have to take steps back and go and do our formal detoxification. Okay. Let me go on a little bit more, because I stopped at that Herxheimer reaction. So we get a flu-like reaction. It's not a surprise, because the body wants to get rid of the chemical toxin. So the body wants to remove this and heal, and this has been classified as the COVID infection, a reaction to the COVID infection. But the cause is the chemical toxins, which include many man-made genetically modified genetic fragments. Still a foreign body. It's a stressor, whichever way you look at it. All right. You could take a typical vaccination that's got all these stresses in it as well. These genetic fragments, because they're made of our own human cell contents, enter readily through the cell membrane. Okay. And join in the same way as the beneficial DNA and RNA cell fragments, the ones that are shifting us from an evolutionary point of view, join with the current DNA strands. These ones join with the DNA strands and the RNA strands. And we start replicating with the wrongly encoded genetic strains, downward cycle, decoding ourselves. Okay, and the body reacts with a Herxheimer reaction to this because it's foreign. Okay, so our body is so in tune with quantum, with the morphogenic field, with its innate ability to heal, with its own intelligence about what it needs inside it. Okay, and unless it's got this absolutely magnificent army, immune system to deal with these foreign proteins, genetically modified, and toxins, they're going to stay and they're going to cause damage. So what I said here is that they enter the nucleus, right, and they cause damage. as we adopt the wrongly coded DNA, causing diseases beyond our current comprehension. Because we all know if you have diabetes, and you look at the chromosomes responsible for diabetes with the genes and so on, you will see little breaks and snips and things, and you can identify what caused diabetes. So we know that, but when we've got this kind of decoding happening, we don't know about the new diseases and the new consequences of this. We have no idea right now. Those people who are really healthy don't even know that the wrong DNA might have slipped into them. They might not have even had a Herxheimer reaction or anything. And then if there's enough of these genetically decoded fragments, we will get a Herxheimer reaction if it's carrying on, if it's remorseless and tireless and it keeps getting thrown at us. And of course, that then is going to damage the tissue, because long-term ongoing stress from a stressor will damage the body, the cells, the tissue, the organ, and the system. Okay, and then the disease manifests. And we often get pain coming in with that as well. So, if the chemical or the wrongly coded fragments in that are not removed, the organisms that have come to actually help and heal carry on and stay in the body. And remember, they're replicating as well, and there's going to be lots of toxins produced from the aggressive form of these normally friendly bacteria, fungi, and yeasts. So it creates a very acid environment. Generally, there's very low oxygen because the people aren't breathing properly. I pick it up just about daily. We are not breathing out. We have got a load of carbon dioxide in our body, which is causing, as I said, backward acidity, bone problems, blood sugar problems, metabolic syndrome problems, which is the charge around the cell, the battery of the body goes down, circulation problems, etc., etc., etc. So that just escalates. And what I'm saying is that the microbes stay in the aggressive form because the chemicals keep coming. Or with us, we keep replicating the wrong DNA. The body's innate understanding and ability to heal knows this. So it keeps sending the immune system. It keeps sending beta cells, T cells, NKF cells, stem cells. And eventually we get bone marrow problems because of two things, which I'll explain in a moment. So those people who don't detox regularly, don't recharge their body, don't eat high vibrational foods, are going to have some serious reactions to any form of chemical. So, we need to really take this into context because it is a big wake-up call to most of us. In many instances, our ancestors detoxified as a matter of course. It was natural for them. They would get into saunas, they would get into sweat pits, they would fast. And in many religious and spiritual spaces, fasting occurs. Some people choose to fast for 24 hours once a week now, but we didn't do that recently. So it's a new thing. We're basically reawakening the sense to detoxify ourselves. And So what happens is that when we're in this stressed state all the time, in this hyper state, and we've got stress hormones, stress chemicals floating around us, and we've got constant reproduction of bacteria, fungi, and yeast in the aggressive forms, you can see how the deterioration sets in. And in some people, there's reports of damage from these chemicals in the sense of, taste and smell. And that shows you the damage is done to those tissues. So, lots and lots of regeneration has to happen, lots and lots of recharging of the battery, reestablishment of the cell vitality, which is allowing, again, just to repeat, the charge around the cell membrane needs to be optimum so that osmosis can occur with oxygen and food going in, waste and water leaving, and the energy to be produced. So we have to produce energy. That's what plants do. They produce energy. So what I've said here as well is that one thing leads to another and leads to another. So if this stressor, which is detected by the nervous system, travels up to the hypothalamus with the chemical message, the pituitary, and comes down and starts circulating and releasing certain hormones and calling on the immune system. This becomes a little bit of an exhausted space eventually if it's an ongoing long stressed situation. And so we'll find that we'll get a lot of adrenal shock, a lot of adrenal stress. Some people, even nervous breakdowns can happen. And other people, you will find a significant reduction in progesterone, thyroid hormone, dopamine, ongoing stress. Because what happens also eventually is that the liver gets so clogged and the blood system gets so clogged that the signaling to the hypothalamus can't happen. So the hypothalamus doesn't release anything. So no chemical messages are going out to the body. So everything just starts, completely slowing down and stopping, shut down. And then that whole hormonal cascade doesn't work properly. And that's important for many reasons. And one main one I'm going to look at is the cascade to the kidney, because that message must get to the kidney to release erythropoietin, to tell the bone marrow to release white blood cells, stem cells, beta cells, T cells, NKF cells, etc., to go and ward off the foreign invaders. And this stops happening. So, we need to bring in there's certain herbs and magnetic substances, oxygen substances, and capacitance type substances that will start cleaning up the body so that its innate potential to heal can kick in and we can sort this little bit of this mess out. And as we do clean also, the body relaxes a lot more, and then we get more homeostasis happening again with digestion, elimination, circulation, sleep, and all of those patterns come back. So whatever we're doing is we have to get back to that homeostasis. And this is what, there was Cannon, a researcher, and then Selle said that anything that affects the homeostasis is actually a stressor. So very important that on every level, the body is in absolute ship-shape condition. All right. And depending on, the level of degree of degeneration, depends also on the time taken to restore. But the body does want to restore very, very quickly. So we do have the force on our side there, at least. And then we find when we do detoxify, pain disappears, fibromyalgia can disappear, autoimmunity, chronic inflammation, all of that starts, the body starts regenerating itself, and those kind of things fall away, and the diseases associated with that fall away too. So I'm speaking broadly because it is a broad thing, and the solutions are the same, and we just got to do that. We just got to understand all of that. So regardless of your views on the subject, I put there that we have to charge the body. We've got to plug it in and give it a charge. The quantum SCIO, Educta, and QUX devices do this for us magnificently, measurable. We get the root causes. We measure the risk factors, validate them, so we can track the improvement in time to come, and also realign the body gets realigned with the electroceuticals. And quantum food state based nutrients and detoxification, herbs, etc., will potentiate anything else that we're doing regarding our devices and so on. So it's really good. So we need to charge this body, give it some voltage. When you've got a really flat adrenal gland, put it that way, increase cell vitality, that osmosis, the charge around the cell membrane, very important. Nourish the cell, and this is where the quantum food state, high vibrational foods come in, the rishis, the pollens, the blue-green algae, maca powders, etc. Absolutely critical to keep us in a high vibrational state where we can be squeaky clean and operating, in an ultimate health state, ultra health if you want. also then detox using herbs, using ormus, using magnetic zeolite, using the live fermented probiotics. So we're giving the body beneficial fungi and yeasts all the time. And we're giving the body really an army, because should they be called on, they're there. Okay. And then also I've put here, breathing properly, and we can use also oxygen as a nourishment to also clean and heal and allow regeneration to happen. So yeah, I mean, again, at the end of the day, they now, the objective of this was that this researcher just led himself into his own little hole, because to say that these are it's an utterly remorseless set of chemicals, I mean, that's just game over as far as I'm concerned. So I hope so far, I've painted a picture that you can grab and grasp. I hope I've done it simply. And I was going to see, any questions, let me know. And just to also step back a bit and think about that golden mean spiral that governs us. That is the quantum state, when that golden mean spiral is absolutely perfected. Bring in a chemical, it gets distorted. Bring in a food additive, bring in some radiation, bring in some mental toxicity. We're worried about trivialities of life. That's a stress. It's going to draw on our body. It's going to draw on our reserves. It's going to draw on our electrons. It's going to draw on our immune system. When the electrons in the immune system and the available oxygen should be doing other things, should be working with the newer forms of DNA that are entering us and taking us to greater heights and greater levels of intelligence. But according to the body's innate potential, we can't have a man-made super new intelligence arriving on the planet, which is, some people are trying to do this right now. They're trying to re-engineer us. And I mean, how can the human brain second guess nature and our body? So again, it's straightforward manipulation. Right? We need to, I think, keep things simple. We need to eat as simply as possible. We need to grow our own food where we can, even borrow land from other people. Plant on your verandas. Get vertical gardens. We really do need to. I think especially also with, second and third waves of COVID coming along, we need to work on our own sustainable health, is really what I'm saying. Because we're not in control right now if these foreign chemicals are landing in our body. We need to know that it's not the first time and it's not the last time. We need to take our own power back, stand up and say, we're much stronger than all of this. And these are the steps I'm going to do and to follow to make sure that I'm actually ahead of the pack. Self-responsibility is what it's called. Self-responsibility and self-care. I've got a few little slides that I want to show you. So let me get to them, just to show you some of the things that you can do right here and now. Some of the things to strengthen the body work immediately, and some, like getting the bone marrow to switch on and to work properly, for example, takes a little bit of longer time, but they all potentiate each other and work together beautifully. And everything I've spoken about, by the way, we can measure with the quantum device. So you speak to, any one of the quantum therapists, in this meeting tonight, they know. They know what we're talking about. And also, we'd be quite horrified to see some of the things that we actually find in the body. And when I look under the microscope, it's absolutely scary what I see. So this one here, we're looking at chemicals specifically and toxins. So what I've put together is a complete health kit, if you like, looking at all of these areas: stress, hormone, nourishment, detox, immunity, and genes, to build the body up. Depending on the person's reading, okay, on the quantum devices will depend on what they get take home in a box. So let me show you some of these things that are going to work on. It's all very well me telling you, what's wrong and how things are happening, but here's how we can start working towards strengthening the body, cleaning it out, nourishing it, getting the charge back, and charging the battery. So very important product is a stress defense shield. It's got over 30 nutrient dense, high vibrational foods in it, all in the quantum state, all in the food state, as nature intended. The intelligence of the plant intact and the DNA of the plant intact. Okay, what more could the body want? When it receives a food state nutrient, it knows exactly what to do with it. It recognizes the electrons, recognizes the atomic structure, the molecular structure, and it takes it and does things beyond our comprehension right now. So that product has nourishment. It's got a load, probably about 7 or 8 adaptogenic herbs that will work with us in a stressful situation. As the stress hits the body, the nervous system, it will moderate the stress so that we don't get these massive releases of chemical messages and the massive releases of stress and so on in the body. So we need to monitor all of this. So that's a kind of a product that's already going to come in and, from a nutritional and herb point of view, balance the nervous system and the hormone system. Be very, very needed when we're in adrenal shutdown and the hormone cascade is also shut down. Very important. And then, of course, the Almost Gold, which is the hallmark of all my products. This product is an energy capacitor. It works immediately. So it charges that battery immediately, instantly. And we can measure it with the quantum device in terms of the body resonance. And under the microscope, you can see the white blood cells within 5 minutes are much bigger and huger, and they're starting to move across the screen and starting to clean up the body. Activated. So the Almost Gold, which is an alchemical product, got the platinum precious metal minerals. Gold, silver, copper, nickel, iridium, palladium, rhodium, osmium, etc., etc. We should be getting it in the food. It should be in the soil. If you've got properly made soil, proper compost, etc., you would be getting Almost, but we're not. So it's lacking, and we need it because it charges the body instantly. And then I like to use that on one of my other slides. I'll show you with the replica RNA DNA, because the Almost Gold will allow the DNA helix to unwind and wind up again. We're very important, especially if we've got a wrongly coded little fragment somewhere. So working with Almost, working with high levels of oxygen, working with the replica RNA DNA that's got all the protein, the 5 nuclear proteins which are necessary to rebuild the DNA, we can rebuild it quickly, and we can, as I said, shoot out the toxins very rapidly at the same time. So while we're cleaning, we're nourishing and mending and repairing. So that's happening simultaneously. And very important, we spoke about the cell membrane. It's a double phospholipid layer. Now, if that lipid layer is not clean and smooth, of course, the osmosis can't really happen properly either. So apart from the charge around the cell membrane, we also need a free-flowing phospholipid layers where as I said, oxygen and nutrients can transfer through. So flaxseed oil is the highest vibrational oil of all the oils. The electron spin is the tightest and the closest to the proton and the neutron, which means giving us the highest amount of life force. At the end of the day, energy equals life force. This is what we're aiming for. This is what we live. We live on life force at the end of the day. And the food we consume, getting in the sun, walking on the ground, in nature, etc., is all adding to this life force of ours, which needs to be balanced. And it's downward spiraled by chemical toxins, etc. And as I said, our body will react, produce a cold or a flu. Herxheimer reaction can produce skin breakouts. Okay, massive gut problems. Okay, so these products are very good. The brain field products are important because they're bringing in all the building blocks for the hypothalamus, pituitary, and pineal gland to repair and restore what's missing. So we've got a male and a female hormone balance that work beautifully. Because it's the food state and natural, the body will only take what it needs, and it will take and it will start building the hormones that are missing. From a nutrition point of view, from a damage, a degeneration point of view, from overwork. So if you're too stressed, you're going to use a lot of thyroid hormone, you're going to use a lot of progesterone, you're going to use a lot of dopamine. They need to be reproduced, and the body needs precursor building blocks. So the stress defense shield I showed in the beginning will do that. Here, these ones specifically have got the building blocks for all the progesterone, estrogen, testosterone, thyroid hormones, pancreatic hormones, liver, adrenals. It all works together. So the body can synergistically and in a potentiated way restore itself. We've still got to look at the liver and the blood, which I'll show you a little bit later. So there's another stress adaptogen mix, purely herbal. There's 5 of them in there: rhodiola, astragalus, ashwagandha, Siberian ginseng. The mucuna bean is very important because of the kidney and fear. So it drives fear off the kidney. It also really nourishes the nervous system. So we're always talking about nervous system and a hormonal system right here, immune system. See, so we keep moving in the same circles because it's an interconnected, interdependent space. That is quantum. Our body is quantum. And if you follow Desiree Dubonet's teachings, of course, we are actually held together by forces hold us together, but we are actually loosely bound. Our electrons are not touching. We are not touching the chair that we're sitting on, all right? But we are pulled together from forces, that's all. So we've got to understand the space that we're in. And when you see a white blood cell under the microscope, you can get an idea of how we are, because it's formless. It doesn't have a boundary. It's amazing to watch this. Anyway, so here's my favorite array of bringing oxygen into the body, and I bring it in quickly because 9 times out of 10, the person is not breathing properly and they're not breathing out properly. If you've got too much carbon dioxide in the body, you can't use the small amount of oxygen even that's there. You can't use the amino acids that are there. So we have to reverse this thing very quickly, and instantly we can get results, either with capsules or with vitality drops or with a herbal cell oxygen activating product like ginsengs, pollens, cordyceps. They will activate oxygen in the body. They will start training the body. So many of these adaptogenic herbs and foods train our body. They teach the body, or they reteach the body, or they awaken the body. Okay, so we're now working on protecting the stress factors in the body, the nervous system, sympathetic, parasympathetic, the hormones, getting the detox out, getting the toxins out. And I'm bringing this COVID kit back in again because we've got to ward off the toxins. And if you have a look at my COVID kit, it's basically about getting toxins out, okay? So the iodine will kill any parasites and remove toxins immediately. And that is why people talk about being sensitive to iodine or allergic to iodine. No, it works so quickly. It works on impact. So those people who have an iodine sensitivity need to open the capsule, sprinkle a few grains into their water. The next day, open the capsule, sprinkle a few more, and build up tolerance, if you like, or build, as they detox, they can consume more iodine. So you could easily take 2 or 3 or 4 capsules a day. In fact, it's beneficial. It wards off radiation. So I like to bring that in because it's going to detox. And as the chemicals and the toxins go out, those parasites the wrongly charged, the aggressive form of the bacteria, fungi, and yeast will leave as well. There's no need for them anymore. So they'll either retrace back into their normal happy state or die. And cell oxygen will literally annihilate any chemical, anything with the wrong charge inside the body, any matter with the wrong charge. So it literally goes about, remember, we are held together by forces. We are not actually together. So the oxygen just pervades the entire space and cleans out. Beautiful. And bringing in that oxygen, it creates the right charge around the cell membrane, so we get proper osmosis happening. We've had about 2 tablespoons of flaxseed oil. We've got a proper functioning cell membrane with the right charge, and things are starting to happen. The person's getting better. They're feeling better. They're sitting up. And then in the Lyme's Gold, which is the same product as the para-immune defense, excepting para-immune defense sounds like it reaches more things. Lyme's Gold sounds like it's only doing rickettsias, but they're both the same, and they both have a very, very far reach. And they will, again, detox the body and also remove then the aggressive forms of the pathogens as they're not needed anymore. But honestly, four capsules will reduce any kind of a Herxheimer reaction, because it brings down it removes toxins and brings down the need for the parasites to be parasites, whatever you want to call them, the aggressive forms of the organisms, to the necessity to be there. So incidentally, some parasites are genetically modified and they are classified as toxins. Ricketsias, for example, are genetically modified. And there's a whole host of them that I'm not going to speak about right now, but many of them are toxic, genetically modified organisms that are not innate and natural to our body at all. So our body will react in the same way to them, and there will be a co-hosting of a whole lot of organisms at the same time. Ours trying to heal the body, trying to get rid of this aggressive parasite. Unknown genetically modified form. It's treated the same way. Okay. And then we've got the activa stem cells. This one here is more covering, this starts covering the process of restoring the response of the nervous system and the hormonal system. So we clean the liver, we clean the blood, and then we get proper signaling to the hypothalamus down, let's say via to the kidneys, proper instruction of the bone marrow via erythropoietin to start producing more red blood cells, white blood cells, beta cells, T cells, NKF cells, etc. So this will happen within time, not immediately, like almost not in 2 hours like the replica RNA, DNA. But having said that, it's made of the top 5 plant-based foods and one herb, by the way, that produce adult stem cells. So it's blue-green algae, raw jelly, lion's mane, cordyceps, and photy. And those products actually get absorbed even through the mucous membrane of the mouth. So they are in the bloodstream immediately. So then sometimes you might need to bring the kidney cleanse in, you might need to bring a gut cleanse in, you might need to bring a skin cleanse, just all depending. But remember, the body's got to be in a harmonic state. And so we're working together with all the little factors that are out of balance. I think, oh, there we go. There's the replica RNA DNA. Fundamentally important product. It has the nuclear protein building blocks for our DNA helix and for our RNA, for the RNA, and mRNA, necessary for protein synthesis. The other very important thing that these nuclear proteins do is stimulate the immune system to go and find cell wall deficient, genetically modified toxic parasites classified as toxins, because Our immune system is not wired to find cell wall deficient bacteria. So it won't even look for them. This product, these nuclear proteins, boost the immune system by alerting it to go and find them. Okay, and there's lots of Russian research on this. Lots. They will also start repairing the body at a cellular, actually at a nuclear level. So as every nucleus starts improving and getting stronger, every cell will be stronger, every tissue, every organ, every system will be stronger. And that's how we start regenerating in an area that's degenerated, for example. That's how we start healing all these damaged areas, lungs, hypothalamus, that's happened from this exposure to these chemicals. It's really, really as simple as that. I think that's about the last one. Yeah, sorry. So, you know, through the products that I've either designed or come across or arrived is my teaching. We have the solutions. The universe has provided us with everything here. And I think it's my role to educate on this there's no fear, because we have what we need. We have exactly what we need. The reasons why we need to consume almost is because of our evolutionary space, and we haven't looked after the soil, we haven't looked after the plants, we haven't looked after our farming. The reasons we need replica RNA and DNA is because of our stress levels, because the over amount of damage to our nuclear, the DNA, the RNA, and the nucleus of the cell, also through radiation, we're needing an overload. Our ancestors didn't need so many. Actually, our ancestors used to eat a little bit of brain and a little bit of kidney and a little bit of liver, where you find quite high concentrations of these nuclear proteins, just by the way. We don't do that anymore. You will find quite a lot in beans. You'll find things in like a fermented Bovril Marmite type of product. You'll find the nuclear proteins in there. But we're needing extra. So extra ormus, extra replica RNA, extra high vibrational nutrient dense pollens, medicinal mushrooms, algae, those kind of foods. We're needing paramagnetic products, zeolite, for example, because it works differently. It attracts magnetically the wrongly charged matter out of our body, perfectly naturally. There's no destruction. We are doing no harm to the body here at all. On any level, impossible. Not possible. We are actually, you know, helping the body on every level to restore and working with the forces to restore according to our innate ability, because we are in tune with our development, and we're either lagging and falling right behind, or we with the program. So I'm saying let's all get with the program. That's what I'm saying. And live the life we came to live. And again, from a toxic point of view, make sure that, you know, you're not bothered by trivialities, and you've upped your game, and you're attracting good things into your space, put it that way, and you're working through and giving up and surrendering to the negativity and stuff that's not serving you anymore. We have to be wise to do this. So we need a clear head. We need to think clearly and live productively. And that's my aim, 365 days of the year, to be in that point. Like I remember when you play squash, there's a pivotal place on the squash court that you stand so that you can reach out and you can get to wherever you need to. Same with us. We need to be standing, feet on the ground, solid, ready to move wherever we need to move. Let me see what some people are saying. So no, the virus doesn't come in a net. The chemical is in. The chemical, genetically modified, in some instances, fragment of DNA, RNA. It can be, nobody's really isolated the direct chemicals and toxins that are basically entering our body. So this is a chemical thing. And then and it's a chemical thing sorry, Annette, but it's also genetically modified bacteria and fungi, engineered specifically. Bacteria, fungi, yeast that are engineered. So they're classified actually as toxins, but they appear to be biological. So we get a chemical biological warfare thing happening, and it's all man-made, is what I'm saying. And then you get a reaction from the body. So the body is not reacting to its own aggressive forms of bacteria, fungi, and yeasts that it formed itself from the blood. It's not reacting to that. It's reacting to all these other things that we classify as chemicals and toxins. The GMO. Okay, and then, all right, and then Nola is talking about non-GMO seeds. Okay, there's a company, there's about 8 companies in South Africa. One of them is Living Seeds, and they have heirloom seeds which have never been touched. They've hardly been cultivated. Understand, all of our seeds have been cultivated, because we're not like our ancient ancestors, where we walked around with barely any clothes and we grabbed seeds and nuts and tumors and stuff and ate. Okay, so as humans have evolved, we have cultivated the seeds and domesticated them. So the more we've domesticated them, the weaker they are. So if you get hold of an heirloom seed, it will be granny's tomatoes, let's say. So they've been less affected by humans and in terms of hybridizing them. So they are stronger for us, and they have more of a closer relationship to the wild form of the plant before it was domesticated. Okay, so wild plant is more an adaptogenic type of a plant. It's more medicine, and it will feed the body. Then you will get the organic seed. All right, so an organic seed will have come from an organic parent plants, and are not be grown with chemicals and pesticides, and will be certified. So the barriers to entry for organic foods are virtually zero. Anyone can just call their food organic, but you have to look for the certification number, okay, that will indicate organic. And you can buy seeds online, you know. Okay, so the other question here is talking about cancer. So Professor Dubonnet has said many times that she's never met cancer. Okay, so let me just make that statement. Now, what she's really saying is that, and the picture I explained as well, when you get degeneration and the life force has left an area of cells and tissues and organs, the battery's gone flat, the life force has left. The cells cannot take in by osmosis any food or nourishment, and they cannot remove any wastes. So you just start getting a whole mass of cells, tissues, organs that are devoid of any life force whatsoever. All right, so then what we have to do is we have to enliven everything all over again and regenerate everything all over again. And as we recharge the entire battery of the body, and we recharge in the nature and the charge of every single cell membrane of the entire body, and we start getting energy being produced in the body's resonance starts rising. The battery starts getting more and more charged. The body can self-generate, self-regenerate, self-repair. Okay, and so that's what we need to happen. We need to enliven that area again. So what will happen is those cells that are subjected to the stressor, can be active stress, it can be toxins, chemicals. It will be your weakest point. So some people, it might be the kidney, others it might be the gut, other people might be the brain, other people might be the breast, because it's blocked, the lymphatic system's blocked, the breast can't drain properly. So we start getting all the toxins remaining, causing a lot of stress. causing a degeneration, causing the life force to leave, causing a whole lumped area to be like a dead fragment inside this very loosely bound but held together body of ours, right? So all we've got to do is get rid of that. And that's when we're bringing loads of oxygen, because it's going to remove the wrongly charged old degenerative particles in our body. Break it up. We're helping the body remove it. So we raise the battery, we change the charge around the cell membrane, we nourish, we get lots of nourishment in the cell, we help the cell detox, we get lots and lots of ATP being produced, lots and lots of energy being produced, and the body just starts operating in another language after that. So we've got to retrace why it happened, why the downward spiral was so, to the extent that it got to where there was an area that became lifeless, life forceless, lifeless. Okay, so yeah, and then we redo it. I mean, I've got case studies. I've got case studies of people within 1 week, their hair started growing again, the blackness on the nails started disappearing, the body charge lifted completely, and they started operating in a new space. And that's what happens. I call it, we start talking and communicating in a new language, because your cells start communicating differently, much higher vibrational level, you see. So everything depends on our approach to things and how much power we give things and how much fear we have associated with things. Okay. And so just to finish off, the Almost Gold I've got two, three main products when we've got degeneration. Almost Gold is one of them. Raw Jelly is another one of them. Oxygen is another one of them. And then I bring in other detoxification herbs and paramagnetic zeolites and probiotics and stress defense shields and depending, liver cleansers, kidney cleansers, gut cleansers. So we're just working with the organs of elimination to make sure they're open so toxins can clean out as quickly as possible, and then make sure that we've got to the root causes of disease and clearing as many of those as possible, and just opening the way for the body to achieve ultimate health levels. It's achievable. It's been done too many times, you know. Too many of the people. See, it's just if you know what you're doing, and yeah, it's also I think for me, knowing that I can do it. I will get your blood sugar down. I will get your blood pressure down. I will get the degenerated tissue out. I don't give it any space. I don't give it any power whatsoever. To me, it's something that needs to move. Okay, but at the end of the day, I suppose I am also working with, in many instances, a little bit of karma, in many instances, the willpower of a client, okay? And so I will have to work with that too, and also respecting that. Respecting people's journey. I learned that. You can't actually interfere with their journey. So that's why it's not prescriptive. It's recommended and it's discussed, and it's come to an arrangement about what that person wants to do or doesn't want to do or whatever. See, so that's very important. So in many instances, the quantum therapists are catalysts, educators, making people completely aware. Okay, and then you do need to step back. But if we're measuring and validating, tracking progress, it's very exciting for people because they're coming back. And remember that dreadful mercury level that you had before. Remember that dreadful asbestos or DDT, Agent Orange, one of these, you know, these terrible chemicals that we talked about. And look at the levels now. Remember how poor the immune system was a month ago. Look at it now. Look how stressed the nervous system was a week ago. Look at it now. Look how we've charged the battery of the body. Look how the voltage is increased in 1 week. That's very encouraging to someone, and that might just be the small bit of hope, actually, that someone knows and they know that you care, because that compassion is very, very important, and your understanding of the nature of disease and why it comes. You know, Rudolf Steiner says disease is a gift. It forces you to go inside. Too many people are looking for all the to be healed outside there. They're not looking inside here where the answers are. The universal wisdom is here. They know it. When you say something to that, Jane, you know what, you're right. I know that. So, you know, we're talking on a simple, natural, common sense level to people. Is there another presentation? Just want to introduce more family members here. Okay, no, Lou, don't worry at all. This one gets posted. Okay, so probably tomorrow, South African time tomorrow, I will have it downloaded and for all to share, because really what we do want to do is we want to get this information out worldwide properly, not in any kind of in a natural way. Can I say that? A natural, organic, perpetual harmonic space where people are receiving this information that need to receive it, that can take it to higher levels and take it to higher levels. Where, as I said, where we drill down and we find the truth as to what's really happening. So I do urge you to be careful. I do urge you to cover your body. Okay. You're still going to breathe it in, but wear a mask just when you're out, simply because you don't really want anyone coughing on you. You don't want to be coughing on anyone either. So for a very short space of time. But those people wearing their masks 24/7, you've got big problems, because you've got a hypoxic state and you've got a massive amounts of carbon dioxide, and you're literally breathing back the toxins that you're breathing out. So all the good work that the lungs are doing to help you detox, you're breathing all the stuff back again. The lung will downward spiral, guaranteed for sure. And then set yourself a lovely plan, like the whole year ahead of you. What am I going to do on a weekly basis? Sorry, on a daily basis. My breathing exercises, my exercise, my standing on the ground a bit, in the sun, in a bit of nature, relaxing my eyes a little bit, quiet time, meditative time, etc. Visualization, so very, very important. And am I on track with my purpose? What am I going to do every week? What am I going to do every month? Bi-monthly, quarterly, biannually, annually. Where is that retreat? Have I booked it? Have I written it off in my diary? What am I going to do? Saunas? Am I going to do massages? When is my big detox, where I'm going to take some of the 365 products and do my liver, and then my kidney, and then my gut, and then my skin, and then my lungs? For example, do 2 or 3 of them at the same time. It doesn't matter. Oxygen's got no preference. It will clean. Almost got no preference. So even the nutrients, there's no preference. Every cell will take them up. So that's what I'm saying. Step back right now, because we could be heading for a very interesting month or 2 ahead of us, that's for sure. Okay, but we don't want to be sucked into all of that. We want to preserve ourselves, our integrity, and the ability to think clearly and live productively. And then you'll also on a daily basis have a look and see, you know, what foods am I actually consuming? Is this food serving me or not? Is it taking my energy away, or is it giving me energy? Is it requiring too much to digest it? That's where it will take your energy away. Or is it easy to digest, where I'm actually left with an energy positive state as opposed to an energy negative state? So Stress Defense Shield will leave you in an energy positive state. A really good smoothie with some superfood, high vibrational foods added to it will leave you in a positive energy state. And you just start gathering momentum on an energetic level. The body can only cope with so much. You stand on the ground, you're not going to get an overdose of electrons. just uses what it needs, leaves the rest. The foods, the 13 nutrient-dense foods in Stress Defense Shield, will use what it wants, leave the rest. No crystals forming, no kidney stones forming, no yellow urine. You see, the male and the female hormone products, all the building blocks are in there. So it's got to go sort out the thyroid or the pancreas or the ovaries or testes, whatever it might be. Will take what it needs, rebuild, restore, regenerate, and leave the rest. So all sorts of magic happens, you see, when we're in that space as well. And then you get all the beautiful ideas, the inspiration, the imagination, and, you know, the creativity and potential energy can shift into kinetic energy like that, manifestation. When you look back on your life one day, you can tick the boxes. Was a life well spent? I achieved this, and this. So one good example to do is to step back and pretend you're at your own funeral, if you like. Don't give it an age. Don't give yourself an age. You're at your own funeral, okay? Because this physical thing is going to go eventually, right? What would you like people to be saying about you? That's going to give you clues as to your path. What am I passionate about? What is my passion? And you'll find when you're doing things that you're passionate about, you're living your purpose and it's not stressful. I know with myself, I'm a little bit curious. So I'll go and look over there and I'll go and do a little bit of that. And it just knocks me sideways. But when I'm back doing what I'm doing, I'm centered, I'm thinking clearly, I'm living productively, and I'm happy. And what more can anyone want? So, you know, I've hoped we've gone into quite unexpected spaces today, but I think it's important, especially right now. You know, it's basically, you know, we have turning points, we have opportunities to points in the paradigm shifts, which are turning points, should I say. So we're all on this path, we are all in the new paradigm shift. We're leaving in the dust that old paradigm, the old way of doing things, the negativity. And we're using the chaos positively, all right, to assist us along the paradigm shift, up the curve, right? So we're going to use the chaos constructively. Always be riding the crest of the wave. Let all the chaos be happening there and getting patterns fed to you that reorganize you, cause chaos again, some more reorganization, chaos happening. Whatever incident in life that you've experienced, it's been an incident of chaos, and the pattern needs to form out of that. The positive pattern needs to form out of that, and then you move into the next space so that there's a perpetual harmonic renewal. That is quantum. Yeah, and we're going to experience setbacks because that's how we grow and how we would call it a setback. If we see these things. Actually, Desiree Dubonnet says obstacles are an illusion of the mind. It's how you receive it. It's how you interpret it. If you see something in the way, it's like, what do I have to learn? Let me learn this and move to the next level. So, any more questions? Lots and lots of food for thought, and let's share. Let's let the ripple effects ripple out. One thing about a quantum ripple, it doesn't dissipate into nothing. It doesn't run out. It's not tireless to pull the whole presentation together. Okay. Quantum energy is not tireless. These other things are. Okay. So brace yourself. Any waves that are coming, that's fine. What's in it for me? Where's the positivity? Okay. Share on the group. You're welcome to text me anytime. We can slap you on the quantum devices. We can find out things about your body you never knew existed. And the beautiful thing is it's not me. It's not any of the quantum therapists. It's non-biased. Most of it's non-verbal. It's happening in the background. The golden means spirals, you see. So it's really beautiful because it's you. We're giving your subconscious a voice. So don't be concerned. Be absolutely positive. Those people who are riding the crest of the wave, ride a higher crest of a wave. Get onto a higher wave. Easy. All right, everyone. Oh, you want the WhatsApp group? Okay, fine. Let me give you that quickly. But I think, Nolo, I think you're on that group. Let me just look here quickly. Oh, the most convenient time. The phone. At the most convenient time, my phone's been working all day. It's just gone off battery. Hold on a second. I'll just see if I can start the other one, and then I'll go and get the group link. Yeah, it's coming on now. So, sorry, Nobule, let me just, but Nobule, have you got my, okay, so there's my, my WhatsApp number. I think I'm going to get the group now. This one also needs charge. Looks like the batteries are flat on the cell phone, so I better go plug them in. Now I've got to get a charger out. Oh, here we go. See, so exactly what I'm doing now to these phones is what we do to the body. Yes, perfect. All right, let me just see here. Yeah, I can get. Nope. No, I can't get on that one. I will just have to charge here a little bit. But in any case, if anyone gets hold of me on that phone, that WhatsApp phone number, I will join you onto the group. Sorry about this. The battery's flat. End of the day. All right. So I think roundabout we've covered quite a lot. Thanks for going deep with me and getting to really the nuts and bolts of the wrong programming and starting to reprogram ourselves, our bodies, our thoughts, our emotions, our spiritual side. Okay. Okay, goodbye.